This is IBM Museum. In this video, we are ready to run the IBM System Information Tool on an IBM PS2 Model 50Z. It's behind me. I've featured this unit in a prior video, looked over the insides, went through and added a numeric coprocessor. I've gone through and I've added a memory adapter just to see how it shows up under the System Information Tool. Put the cover on, of course. I do have other memory adapters that I'm going to go through, and I've got some EEPROMs to read, to look through. The adapter I put in has an EEPROM on it, and I'm just going through and checking through for the versions of that of those EEPROMs. Kind of interesting little expanded memory adapter that has 30-pin SIMs and a big old chip on it. And I have this one EEPROM loose because it's the only version that I have of one of these. And these versions are known. I haven't seen them dumped, so I'm going to go through and dump that EEPROM. But I've gone through, and this is the adapter I have in place. And of course, I've got the appropriate SIMs for this. It's not really all that much memory, but I wanted to see how they'll show up, and I'll at a later point I'll go through and I can put the latest EEPROM version in there after I've defined what exactly they are. But let's go ahead and get started just to run through that. As this video uploads, I can have that other work. And of course, I'm going through the System Information Tool is on the Ardent Tool site. I'll provide a link to that in the video description. And there is the listing of the official version I found years ago. And then today we're going to be running that patched version as well from Major Tom. So, okay, and I'll get the, okay, so this is the system, and that is that 60 megabyte hard drive, that DBA ESDI drive that we booted from the other day. And the interesting thing for this this adapter in there, I mean, it does show the XMS specification version 4. As far as I know, that adapter supports version 2, and as far as I'm aware, that adapter supports the LIM specification 4. But I'll go through, and there may be some video on that adapter at a later point. Okay, and I've just got it named as that SIT, and there is the splash screen, giving credit to Major Tom for going through and fixing a few bugs within that. And we're to that alphabetical list in the menu. So we have the adapter information, and okay, this is really strange because this Model 50Z, it should have identified. I mean, normally Microchannel has the has those Microchannel slots enumerated, and there are planar features that show up in that enumeration. They're counted as slots, even though they're on the planar. Normally, the slots of the Model 50Z, there's just 4 of them, and that we've seen in, I think when we ran the System Information Tool on the 55SX, it even suppressed that, effectively, that slot 4 that that runs the hard drive. But Here it's showing even those slots 5, 6, 7, and 8, no adapter present, and because there's not even any functionality of those particular slots. I don't know how the system information tool is basically identifying those slots being present. I may turn around and face the screen just so I don't have that lag in going through this. Allows me to see it a little bit better. So we have the IBM Extended Memory Adapter /A, and for the adapter ID, and I thought I had one of these. I also tried one of these other boards, and I'm gonna have to find some oh, okay, so this is FEFE for the adapter ID. And this is the regular expanded memory adapter with no BIOS chip. And the ADF for this is on the reference diskette. The XMS, well, the for this extended memory adapter, this adapter, it doesn't have the ADF on the reference diskette. I'm just, it threw me a little bit because I'm seeing that 2 megabyte or 0 through 8 megabyte, and I guess it probably shares. It may share that with the other adapter I've shown for the 55SX before. And this adapter has 8 slots for a for just the 256 kilobit SIMs, and so it's a 2 megabyte adapter, and not anything close to 8 megabytes. And then it has the shows the POS data. I don't think there's effectively any scroll for that, for any of the other identification. And as I say, for these no adapter present, it's worth running through. And then, of course, that slot 3 on the Model 50Z is that AVE slot, as we showed in that previous video. And then integrated fixed disk controller, and enabled, and the POS data, subaddress. It'll probably identify these the same way. It's for slot 5. It just doesn't read any of the POS data, so it's not going to show anything there. But it's just kind of interesting that it shows those slots that are effectively not there, and it may just be where it just doesn't figure out the model number that it's right on. And so we've moved on to the hard drives, or the drive information. There's our drive C, the hard drive volume label. There's no volume label. It's a 60 megabyte size. Just gives the available space, the bytes per sector, and sectors and clusters arrangement of that drive. Hard drive by device number, 60 million bytes, which it marks as 58.0 megabyte. Drive letters and partition table. Just a 16-bit fat partition, file allocation table partition. And I think it just, in the drive partition, and we've seen this before, I think it goes through and just under the DOS arrangement where there can be easily be well there can be many situations where it has 4 partitions, or that is rated as being the maximum amount of partitions, I guess, 4 different partitions. Although most of these older systems, of course, are going to just have 1 partition on the drive. Maybe encountering earlier versions of like MS-DOS 3.3 that the PS2s were released at that same time frame, going through and dividing that hard drive into the 32 megabyte partitions, I guess could be one occurrence of that. And I have no diskette in the drive. We're running the system information tool from the hard drive. And so it's a 1.44 megabyte. Okay, keyboard information. 101, 102 keyboard supported. Get typometric rate supported. Get typometric or set typometric rate supported. And return to default typometric rate supported. Memory information, memory hardware. It does not specify which memory modules could be installed. This is the Model 50Z. It does have that single 72-pin SIM slot. You're able to have a 1 megabyte SIM or a 2 megabyte SIM in that module. No other variations from that. Okay, so we are getting into the total usable memory. Interesting enough, of 4 megabyte, extended memory of 3.5 megabyte, system board memory of 2 megabyte, okay, and adapter card memory of 2 megabyte. That's where it's getting the total of the 4 megabyte. And identifying that XMS memory information, total free XMS memory, 3392 kilobytes, and largest XMS block available as that same number. And that, I don't know what to make of those numbers. It might be good just to run the mem command from DOS. Memory mapping. Okay, and we do have a little bit of scrolling that we can do. System RAM, video RAM, adapter ROM, and it might even be worthwhile to have debug just to kind of look through on that adapter ROM too. System ROM, and that's in the seeing that for being both the C okay, it's just telling the space that adapter ROM could be. I could look that up under the on the reference diskette for seeing where it placed that adapter. I'm talking about the EEPROM chip of what space it has for that ROM extension on the system. Miscellaneous technical information. Second interrupt chip is present. Real-time clock is present. Wait on external event is unsupported. Extended BIOS data area is allocated. System has a microchannel bus. DMA supports 24-bit address space, keyboard functionality call supported, return POS data call is unsupported, return memory map call is unsupported, enable disable processor function calls unsupported, 8042 keyboard controller and system, data streaming is unsupported, SCSI subsystem is not present on the system board, information panel is not installed, this is not an IML system, SCSI support is not in the IML image. So that return POS data call unsupported. I can't remember in prior versions of running the system information tool on other PSUs. And that may be why it shows those 8 adapters or 8 slots to the microchannel bus. Normally there's an extended CMOS byte or register that holds the value of the number of slots that are identified in that system. And as I said previously, I mean, it can identify planar features, functionality that's on the planar as being on effectively on assigned a slot, a microchannel slot. And it typically the system incorporates that into that count of the number of slots. Normally for the 50Z, it would be 4 slots. And of course, we don't have a mouse driver present. Operating system information, DOS version 5. Model and processor information. And so we have a big unknown for the machine name processor, and that's at 286 at 10 megahertz. A coprocessor is present on the system as well. We installed that on a previous video. Model FC, submodel 04, BIOS revision 03, as we saw in the prior video. The BIOS ROM date of the 18th of April, 1988. And the system board POS ID of FBFF. Okay. Parallel and serial port information. Number of parallel ports 1. Number of serial ports 1. I'm just looking over for an indication of the time. Okay, SCSI information. SCSI information not present on this machine. Video information. And it's a standard VGA controller on the 50Z. So we are 640 by 480, or actually we're in a text mode here with the system information tool. And so 80 columns by 25 rows, 16 colors. So that is the system information tool on the Model 50. And a little bit informative for some of the little quirks there that I'll go through and I can check a little bit further. But that's going to be a wrap. I'll go through and check those memory expansion. I'd like to get a little bit more memory easily enough on this system. It's probably not going to come in the form of these IBM adapters. I don't really have a whole bunch of experience with some of the adding the XMS boards in there and things like that. I don't really use that. I just typically use that expanded memory rather than extended. So, but informative enough. And if you like this video, please click on that like button and leave comments if you also to what you found interesting, or maybe you found it the video boring, or I don't know. Express your feelings in those comments, and I love to see those comments on my videos so I can know what people are keen on and looking at and seeing in there. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of the videos of this type. There's going to be lots of content like this, but that is all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.